fait rien. Mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. J'ai des baskets, ça c'est un mot en anglais. J'ai des baskets pour faire mes petits trajets. Un anorak, mot qui vient des Esquimaux. Un anorak pour quand tu fais pas beau. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues. Moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. Les spaghettis, mot qui nous vient d'Italie. Les spaghettis me mettent en appétit. C'est le yaourt, mot qui vient de Bulgarie. C'est le yaourt, mon dessert de midi. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues. Moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. J'achète au kiosque, mot qui nous vient de Turquie. J'achète au kiosque mes journaux favoris. Sans un copec, mot qui nous vient de Russie. Sans un copec, je peux pas faire des folies. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues. Moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. C'est sur un yacht, mot qui vient du hollandais. C'est sur un yacht que je passe le mois de juillet. Grâce au judo, mot qui nous vient du Japon. Grâce au judo, je ne suis plus un poltron. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues. Moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. Par cette chanson, mot qui nous vient du français. Par cette chanson, je peux dire désormais, je suis polyglotte, mot qui vient du grec ancien. Je suis polyglotte et j'épate les copains. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues. Moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie.
Bonjour. I can see that there are some participants that have joined us now. I put this song on to introduce you to the theme. I'm going to put it on once more just to let people come in. And if you can just write a little message on the chat to let me know that you're there, that would be lovely, so I know when I should really start. Enjoy this song again, please. You will see on the right-hand side a gray box. That's for me to look at the chat. So when I open it, it means I'm looking at the chat and it's there, and I apologize because this is something I can't control through Zoom. I will be opening and closing it so you can say hello to me, you can write questions, and I will regularly look at the chat to answer them and monitor everything. Enjoy la chanson.
Moi je sais parler toutes les langues. Moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. J'ai des baskets, ça c'est un mot en anglais. J'ai des baskets pour faire mes petits trajets. Un anorak, mot qui vient des Esquimaux. Un anorak pour quand tu fais pas beau. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues. Moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. Les spaghettis, mot qui nous vient d'Italie. Les spaghettis me mettent en appétit. C'est le yaourt, mot qui vient de Bulgarie. C'est le yaourt, mon dessert de midi. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues. Moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. J'achète au kiosque, mot qui nous vient de Turquie. J'achète au kiosque mes journaux favoris, sans un copec, mot qui nous vient de Russie. Sans un copec, je peux pas faire des folies. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues, moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. C'est sur un yacht, mot qui vient du hollandais. C'est sur un yacht que je passe le mois de juillet, grâce au judo, mot qui nous vient du Japon. Grâce au judo, je ne suis plus un poltron. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues, moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie. Par cette chanson, mot qui nous vient du français, par cette chanson, je peux dire désormais, je suis polyglotte, mot qui vient du grec ancien. Je suis polyglotte et j'épate les copains. Moi je sais parler toutes les langues, moi je sais parler les langues du monde entier. J'en savais rien, mais maintenant que tu le dis, c'est enfantin, ça va changer ma vie.
Bonjour, hello everybody. I'm really pleased to see so many of you online. I'm putting my little chat box on the side now so you don't have a grey box, but I will look at it regularly. So please don't hesitate to comment, to write on it. So I will be able to take questions and answers at the end, and also hopefully monitor what you're saying. I have done this before, and I do love the interaction, because at the moment I'm looking at a little green light and it feels rather lonely. So the more you tell me and the more we interact, the livelier the session will be. So je m'appelle Nadine Chadier, I'm Nadine Chadier, and I'm here today to present to you multilingualism for a language-rich school and community. I have helped to create, as a co-founder, a bilingual school in Harrow called Saint-Jérôme Bilingual School. It is a state school under the umbrella of the LDBS, the London Diocese Board of School. And we opened in 2016 with 2 reception classes, and the children have been growing ever since. I am so thrilled to tell you that now we have a full school up to year 6, 420 children. And it's been an exciting journey to get here. And I would like to thank the whole of the Association for Language Learning community for having been there all the way on our side, the Institut Français, who has supported us all the way, and the LIPS group on Facebook. And we are very proud to have been given the second time the Label France Éducation, which testifies of our excellent bilingual education. So let's start talking to you about multilingualism. And again, please don't hesitate to write anything on the chat. I will try to read it as often as I can. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to tell you about our bilingual vision and how we've made that happen, a little bit about bilingual research, and then how we've been embracing multilingualism. Our mission statement is to really provide a wonderful multicultural environment for children to gain knowledge and to flourish and have fun. And we do this within a Christian environment of the love of God, but we have staff and children of all faiths and no faiths. And the importance is really to bring all of the wonderful words into actions. And the words and what we teach is English and French within the national curriculum and the limitations of it. But we really want to foster children's curiosity and also to help them really celebrate their home languages. And constantly last night we had parents' evening. I say to the parents, carry on speaking their home language, because we also celebrate them in school and it's extremely important. So this is just a little sharing with you the success of the Label France Education when we awarded it in 2019, and it's been renewed, and we are waiting, hopefully, Madame l'Ambassadrice to come and give it to us, who's been newly appointed in London. It's going to happen in 2022. We use our mascot, Camembert. Oh, he's in the room there. If you ask me, I will go and quickly get him. It's a beautiful teddy bear that has been created by Leanne Jefferson by Head Start Languages, and he's been our mascot with her permission ever since we started Saint-Jérôme. Children play with him in reception, and we took him to Paris on our year 6 school trip. And as you can see here, in reception, they start learning Bleu, Blanc, Rouge, and they embrace the language in a very immersive, implicit, and the more the children grow up and more it becomes explicit, and it's all about language and also culture. And that's why we have 2 fun boxes for them to put Christmas cards in and New Year's French letters, and we do celebrate La Galette des Rois. Again, don't hesitate to write me something in the chat. I can't see anything at the moment, so I'm not responding to it. We're very pleased to have also applied for the International School Award. We've had the first level with a partner school in France, and now we're working towards a second level with our partner school we went to visit in Paris. And that's just a few slides for the wonderful trip that we've had thanks to Turing funding in Paris very recently. So multilingualism, we are obviously mainly an English-speaking school, even if the children have half an hour of French every day from reception onwards, and they do art, DT, and PE in French. And I wanted to share you the importance of actually making links between languages. So we have here a video that I use and an exercise when they learn about the Norman invasion and 1066. So this is a fantastic TED talk that has an animation on it, and that makes you really think what language is about. And when do you say that you have a warm welcome? And when do you say that you have a cordial reception? And those words having a completely different meaning. And we constantly within Saint-Jérôme think about when do we use a word marriage and when do we use wedding, and which one of those has a French root, or it's mariage. And why does mariage sound posher and more elevated and more educated than wedding? And that's because of who brought that language into the country. When the Normans arrived, they brought the clergymen, they brought all their priests, they brought the court, which one already then looks sophisticated. And so anything that is long words and comes from the French has unconsciously this message of being of a different register of language. And even if it is sometimes challenging for children from year 4, year 5 to understand that, they get a je ne sais quoi feeling for it. So I really, really encourage you, when you do 1066, to link it to how the English language evolved and to do the exercise with them. Draw me, what does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What does it, what materials, what am I wearing when I go somewhere and they give me a cordial reception, and tell me what does it feel like, etc., when I have been given a warm welcome. I was very, very lucky, thanks to l'Institut Français, to go to the Résidence de France twice this year. According to you, just to see if there's anybody listening to me, did I get a cordial reception at La Résidence de France, or was I given a warm welcome? Could you quickly just show me in the chat, which one do you think? Is it a cordial reception or is it a warm welcome? It would be lovely if you answered my question, please, so that I can see. I definitely got a warm welcome because the Institut Français is very, very warm towards me, and we have a great relationship, and the staff are very warm. Thank you for those who've answered warm welcome. But I was actually thinking of a cordial reception, because the Résidence de France looks very much like a little Versailles, a little Palais de l'Élysée, even if I haven't been there. And you have some beautiful champagne glasses, you've got gold beautiful frames around the mirrors and chandeliers, etc. So it would be more of a cordial reception where I would dress up with my best dress and coat than a warm welcome that would be in the pub. So I would like to invite you, please, to watch this TED Talk at another opportunity. If you click on the link, it will come up, and hopefully also there's a PDF that we will be able to produce with you that will have all the links of this TED Talk. Thank you for your participations. And that's the link to it. And the writing, you can see they use differently between they gave us a hearty welcome and they gave us a cordial reception. I apologize, I use the word warm instead of hearty, but the meaning and the origin of the word there is the same. And you can see the illustrations from the TED Talk. This is what they mean by hearty welcome, the pub, the cheerfulness, the tweed. And this is the illustration that they used for the refined crowd and the flute, which is a little bit more what I experienced at the Résidence de France. So this was a way to introduce to you the fact that we always make language links. And the wonderful Claire Seacombe, who is also doing presentation on London Live across the 3 days, has produced this fantastic link on Lightbulb Languages, her website that has many, many free resources. We have printed every single one of those little A4 beautiful illustrations where she shows the link of languages. And we have them all across the school, and the children really enjoy learning that in English you say current, in French it would be actuel, but in English you also have actual as an English word, and the definition of it and how you use it is underneath. I was very surprised when we were in Paris, a child saw on the menu the word veau and knew it was veal, because it was one of the words that was in those language links that he had seen in our cantine. So again, please don't hesitate with the link to go and download some of those and put them around. Children really enjoy them. And Claire very kindly produced them also with Spanish and other languages, and they're for free because she's just so generous. We have had some multilingual reading celebrations at Saint-Jérôme, where the children read, they come in their original language to read to me. So they bring a book of a different language and they read to me, and then we do a little recording of it. And the feedback has been absolutely wonderful from the parents, because they said that the children came home and celebrated their home languages even more, and were even more thrilled to be proud to be able to read in another language. So we celebrate that all the time and tell them how important it is. For the year twos do a bilingual nativity at the end of the first term. So we're already working on the next one, which is wonderful, but we've had to record it a couple of times because of obvious reasons like COVID. And then we ask the parents to record their children to sing in their home languages Silent Night. And then we did a montage of Silent Night with the languages that the children are singing. And that was absolutely beautiful. We have more than 55 different languages within the school, and more than 75% of our children are EAL. And I'm using the EAL official definition, i.e. they're exposed to another language than English and French at home. So it doesn't mean that they don't speak English, but it means that they're exposed to it, and therefore their progress in English might be different, and we need to monitor it. Also last year, the children recorded themselves saying Happy New Year in different languages, and we're making a little montage to share it with our community at the beginning of the year. Thank you very much for sharing, Helen, that you like the idea of reading home languages at school. It was amazing. The feedback we got from the parents was really fantastic. And then we shared it in an assembly where the children were reading and they could hear the languages. And because we have a few of the same languages, they were so pleased to see another child read in the home language, and it inspired them all. It is very difficult to find resources for other languages. Please perhaps speak to the parents, and a lot of them within their temple, for instance, for Punjabi, go to schools, Saturday schools, to learn to read the scriptures, and then you can encourage them to share resources with them. I'm jumping ahead of a presentation now, just responding to your chat, and thank you so much for engaging with me in a conversation. We also try to get the parents of the same languages across the school to get together regularly, thanks to the PTFA, and to have coffee mornings, not only to support EL parents, but also so that they have a sense of community and they can exchange books and resources. So perhaps, Manjit, that would be a way of going around it, finding it difficult to find resources. Ask the parents, ask the community, ask the local temples. We also do every day 5 a day in French, and I wanted to mention them because they have different languages. And for transition periods in between lessons of different variety, it's very important for the children to move around. So those 5 minutes give the children, the teachers, time to just prepare themselves and get their stuff ready for the next lesson, and the children some movement, because as we know, the more they move around, the more their brain cells also get engaged. I wanted to mention the free film festival in November that Into Film does. Not everybody knows about it, and it's absolutely fantastic. We have, thanks to Into Film, apart from the COVID year, since 2016, every year we've taken children to the cinema. At one stage, when we had up to year 2, we took all of the reception year 1, year 2 in a crocodile line to the cinema in Harrow. It was absolutely wonderful. And this time we're going to the Barbican cinema to watch Asterix and Obelix with English subtitles. We're taking 116 children on the tube. If you follow Into Film, they have amazing resources in different languages. They have films that you can stream during lesson time. And they also have some really good presentations how to use languages in the classroom. And I really think they're a fantastic resource for you to know about. We've also created a lot of our material with Widget, which is a fee-paying resource, but it allows us to create lots of cards when an EL child arrives with displays, but it translates literally for you. And we have this around the whole school. For instance, adolescent is underlined because it's identique, and we show it with our arms, c'est identique. Agriculture and altitude also, and words that are not identique, we do with the fingers and just underline the words, the letters that are exactly identique, and we say c'est similaire. We do want to learn vocabulary through cognates because actually they are very useful between English and French. And when we find cognates between other languages in year 2, I say to them, what is a cognate? And they say it's a word that you recognize. And it's just so lovely for them to feel so educated and to go home and tell their parents what a cognate is. So we celebrate cognates, not just in French and English, but obviously also with other languages. And there isn't a lesson without the child saying, oh, this is the same word as my language. For instance, I learned from Swedish children that trottoir is used in Sweden because there were apparently some French kings going to Sweden. The word carton, pronounced differently, is in Turkish also the word for a box, which is from the French. If you have any of those to share with us, please do in the chat. Feeling a bit lonely at the moment. So this is how we are really displaying them within our Sow, Grow and Farm. We have all those little cards displayed on the wall, and the children then can play with them, and they can collect, and they can see the similarities between English and French. We've had a wonderful year 2 teacher who's done some research with us within her MA that she did in Cambridge. And I just wanted to just mention a little bit to you what she did. She did some research within how the children feel within their languages, what bit of their body is in which language. And it's been very, very interesting to see that from a very early on, the children can define that they're red in their head. That child said they were French, that the purple was English, their hand, and they had a little bit of yellow Afrikaan on their shoulder there. And to speak about identity and to speak about multilingualism through drawings, through understanding, you can see some other drawings about their family underneath. It is very, very enriching for them to realize the multilingualism of it. Here is a link to be able to do language portraits with your children, a lot of guidance and the studies that go with it. And we have been asking them how they feel about the languages and what does it mean to be multilingual. And there's lots of resources on the Cambridge Bilingualism Network that helps you define all of those things. And it's a very interesting PSHE exercise And I wanted to tell you that University of Cambridge has also been studying our children. And the main questions they wanted to know is their children's progress in English actually hindered because we are speaking French to them also? And how does a bilingual curriculum change the identity of the learner? And the conclusion they came to is that actually our results are the same as other schools. It doesn't hinder them at all. So I've put a little spark there to celebrate it. And that from a very early age, children have a bilingual and multilingual identity. And that is something really to nurture, because some research indicates that the more multilingual you feel and the more your home language is valued within school, the more your attitude to language learning is going to be open. It does feel very natural to be so, but it's actually been researched. But if we have an interest in the child's home language, then they will have an interest in the languages we are trying to teach them. And I thought that was an important thing to share with you, and you will have all of the research, etc., written. Yesterday, as I said, and on Tuesday, we had parents' evening, and this is a huge map, which is at least 2 meters long, wide by 1.5 meters high. I don't know exactly, but it's really big. And we had it in reception yesterday when the parents were coming through, and you can see that there are lots of little red dots to be able to show where the families of our children come from. And we're going to display that in the dining room where everybody goes. We're going to have flags around it. We're going to have cultural objects around it. And we're going to put with blue dots where our staff come from around the world. And that's really to celebrate diversity, to celebrate the fact that we are all from a one world. And like our Christmas song says, we are here, all here, pour faire un meilleur monde, to make a better world. And today we've been singing a song that I love on YouTube for members called Je suis un enfant de paix, where we also talk about the world and wanting to be at peace with the whole universe. Now, all of this encouragement of our pupils are celebrating their home languages. We have a native speaker Spanish child, a Portuguese child, sorry, who came up to me after a half term and gave me her dictionary. So she was in year 2 or 3 at the time, 3, and she had produced her first Portuguese words language learning dictionary. And we very much celebrated her doing that. And the more they produce and share with you, the more we share with the whole community what that child has done. And so we're very proud to have copies of her book in our library. So it was a year 3 child, yep. And also yesterday during parents' evening, I've been told that another year 3 child has made up her own language at home, which is teaching the whole family. And she's been inventing not just vocabulary, but she's also been inventing grammar rules for the vocabulary and the sentence structure. And I think that is absolutely wonderful that she's got the awareness of it and she understands the necessity of it and applies it to a language that is imaginary. So we will be definitely celebrating that too. If you want to give me a little thumbs up or a little message in the chat to tell me that you're still there, that would be lovely, please. As we came back from our 4 days in Paris, we had bought some little French books with these beautiful pages. Thank you, Lison, for saying something. These beautiful pages that are so smooth. It was a Clairefontaine cahier, for those who know it, and it has completely different lines, as you can see. And what is so special about this child's writing that she did on the Eurostar when she was coming back, she started her text in English. Today, we're leaving Paris. And then she starts quoting all of the buildings. So she starts with the Eiffel Tower, the Cathedral of Notre Dame, and then she goes l'Assemblée nationale, le Musée d'Orsay, l'Académie française, Musée Quai Branly, l'Institut du Monde Arabe, l'Hôtel de Ville. She obviously had a French map of Paris with her when she did this. But what is was the best gift she could have given us on the Eurostar on the way back was c'était très beau et intéressant. Après, nous sommes allés à la gare qui a traversé au Gare du Nord pour prendre le Eurostar. Maintenant, nous sommes dans le Eurostar. So she actually started writing in English, then wrote the buildings in French. And then she wrote in French and she came up to us and said, I didn't realize I had swapped languages. And that just shows you, you know, the power. She then felt she needed to express herself in French. And it was just so beautiful to see the evidence of that happening. So embracing multilingualism, I think, is also synonymous with embracing EAL. And again, I say EAL, the definition is that you have English as an additional language. So you are exposed to another language. For instance, I've got 3 children who've got a French mum and an English dad. Our home language have been always English and French. But there are some things that my children haven't necessarily discussed or heard discussions about in English. For instance, if I discuss the environment or politics, it will be with my husband when they were younger, and it would have been in English. So they wouldn't have a vocabulary in French for the environment and politics, but they had it in English. Whereas a French family who speaks exclusively English would never have overheard discussions about other higher language topics. So it's very important to know which children are EL, even if they speak fluently, because at a certain time their writing might not be as vocabulary rich, or the grammatical structures might not be so important. So we have joined NALDIC, the National Subject Association for EL, and there is a fantastic primary group that runs sessions, webinars for free. On the Flash Academy website, which has a software to learn languages. They have a very interesting free welcome pack, which I have downloaded, which you can use to welcome the children. I have inspired myself from the book from Alex Quiggle about closing vocabulary gap, which is very, very interesting. And Speech Link also has interesting material, and Language Nut is what we use to introduce our children to games in French from year 2/year 3, and they learn vocabulary through it. And I'm very pleased to say that Language Nut has free vocabulary learning games for children coming from the Ukraine learning English. So please visit them for that free resources. They have to be commended for having created that. So we have a very strong welcome introduction process and induction process. I usually give a tour of the school to the parents and the children, because I think it's very important, apart from the class teacher, that the parents have one link with somebody within the school, because the class teachers change from one year to the other, and it's nice to have this kind of mentorship. I then give an adapted welcome pack for the primary from Flash Academy to have their own little book as a liaison book between home. We have a whole EL folder with resources that I have been collecting on Google Drive. And if age appropriate, they go on to Language Nut. They are assigned not just one peer body, but a couple of peer body. It's been very interesting to see that recently, children who recently joined the school like to welcome children who are just arriving also. So they feel that they're a little bit grown up in comparison to them, and they can show them what they have learned in the few weeks they have just been here. We introduce very quickly paired reading to them, and can't highlight enough the importance of picture books. So even if you cover a more advanced topics in year 5 or year 6, always have a picture book that goes alongside so that the EL children can follow it. And we ask them to do tour of the school with other peer, and they take pictures, and then they label the pictures of the places they have been to have it and print in their own book. We welcome them for free in our breakfast and after school club, so they get an opportunity for children to speak freely. During lesson time, it's very structured. We have very little time to just let them chat. So breakfast and after school clubs are wonderful places to chat. And we have been recruiting some absolutely wonderful voluntary TAs from our local college when they do the TA level 1, 2, or 3, and they spend 2 days with us, and we usually pair them in a classroom where there are EL children so that they feel fully supported. So that's a link to the Flash Academy welcome pack that is there for free. And we've been using the Bell Foundation to assess the children's learning. And we do so at least twice a year. And it's very worthwhile going to their website, because they also have assessment resources, and don't hesitate to contact them. They also have free webinars. And I have found the CGP EL books really invaluable. They're, I think at the moment, £10 for free books of 3 different levels. They have QR codes inside, so the child with a phone or an iPad can listen to the words that are written, and therefore they can really progress themselves. Now, another project we've been doing with our EL learners in Key Stage 1 is trying to engage with them and do a presentation all about me, my family and my heritage. And you can see those absolutely beautiful drawings. They just write the number, how old they are, and then they are being given templates to be able to copy the words, and we send those home because the parents can complement it, and they draw the flag or the country they come from. They speak about the culture of it a bit, and then they present it to their peers, dressed up in costumes that are typically from their countries, or t-shirt or football t-shirt, and objects with a flag. And they, even if they did it in broken English, they really, really loved being able to present to their peers and to be the important ones during assembly and worship. And here they could write about Albanian. A lot of them have been doing it with their parents from the different origin, and that has been a very valuable project. We have only 3 rules at Saint-Jérôme. First one is to be safe physically. The second one is to be safe with your heart, so to be kind. And the third one is to be fantastic, to always think, how can I go over and beyond? And how can I be helpful, etc. And so we have a fantastic board, and you can see that on this fantastic board, which is updated with their certificates and beautiful work they do. We also, if they do something extracurricular like language, music grades, or if they do a sports competition, etc., we include it on the board. And this week we have this absolutely beautiful piece of work, which is being done by our Spanish speaker, who arrived, I think, under 2 weeks before we went to France in October. We took him to France only speaking Spanish, and he's joined in doing some absolutely beautiful artwork. And when he had to write a description of what it was and an evaluation, he did it in Spanish, which is fine. So it is actually something we celebrated and gave him a head teacher's beautiful sticker for, because we want to celebrate that we have other languages, and that he can write this and we can't understand it. So we then used some Spanish speakers to translate it back to us, but it's a real celebration. Whatever they produce in their home languages, please do celebrate it. We have been, with the help of TAs and some teachers, also translating the progress reports in the different languages for Parents' Evening, that was translated into Albanian so that the parents could access it. We make sure we have internal interpreters, community interpreters, to help during Parents' Evening. And I've also discovered this beautiful website called World of Languages, where there are lots of very easy games for children to think about great word origins. They can be used for European Day for Languages, end of September, but as this has passed in February, I think the 20 or 12 of February, there is a fantastic International Mother Tongue Day. And all the resources I'm sharing with you today would be wonderful to do that. And we have a in-house, in-school diversity group, and they're going to help us also celebrate the Mother Tongue Day, because we're so proud of all the mother tongues we have within the school. There is this wonderful website called The Language Revolution, where with the help of Michael Rosen, children can write in their home languages and do competitions about it. And it's a beautiful site that I encourage you to see. This has rivers of reading also in multilingualism that is fascinating. There has been in the past, just before COVID, a celebrating multilingualism with fantastic activities you can find on this website. The EAL Hub has a lot of free resources you can download that can be extremely useful. And I think it's very interesting and enriching to do for your staff some CPD about the stage of learning languages, the fact that children have different phases. So we have a kind of pre-production, early pre-production, speech emerge, intermediate fluency, advanced fluency, but that takes times. And this is not 0 to 6 months, the age of a child, it's actually how long they are exposed to that language. So it's very, very interesting to see that it takes a long time, and you just have to be patient and praise them all the way and encourage them. Now, we can't talk about language and multilingualism without speaking about vocabulary. And here is, yes, we will get sent all these links. Hopefully within the Language Live, I will be able to give a PDF that you will be able to download. Also, I believe it's recorded, so hopefully you'll be able to watch the recording again. But I will speak to Jonathan to see if I can upload the resources. I have got them as a PDF. Qu'est-ce que c'est? If I ask you what this is, you can answer in completely different ways. You can say this is just a tree, or these are trees. And then you can, this is then explaining it with common language words, concrete objects, rarely require direct instructions. Whereas you can say in tier 2, trees varies in shape and size. So you can just go more across a range of disciplines and more abstract. And then you come to the tier 3 vocabulary, which is speaking about photosynthesis. Sorry for the pronunciation of that word. Like photosynthesis is much easier. So it's very important to understand that most of the children that we have in primary school in English have tier 1 words and vocabulary. And we need to help them be able to define their vocabulary with tier 2 words so they can give definition. And we need to really introduce them to tier 3 vocabulary, which are much more abstract. And these are the words they need to be able to go to secondary school and really understand higher concepts. And the more we give them this vocabulary, the more vocabulary rich they are, the more better they're going to be able to read text, the better they're going to express themselves. And most of those words come from the Latin and the Greek, and therefore they are great links with MFL. We always promote home languages to our family, and the research behind why we do that. There's a lot of discussion whether it's actually worth introducing foreign languages to children who have already got speech impediments, etc. We believe that it's important that they're part of it. They're entitled to the national curriculum, and it's very important that every effort is actually valued and that they can join in. And that's one of the reasons, out of many, we use so many songs at Saint-Jérôme, because they are all inclusive and everybody can join in, even if they just sign the words. The Cambridge Bilingualism Network, I wanted to mention again, because they have a lot of resources to be able to do PSHE about multilingualism, and they have some storytelling months celebrating multilingualism. Those were books I have come across and found very, very interesting if you want to take it a bit further yourself. And there's a wonderful TED Talk there, and multilingualism in education. This is another video I watched that I thoroughly enjoyed. So the practical aims to implement, well, bilingualism and multilingualism in a primary setting, but I think it's applicable to a secondary one, is also thanks to the PTFA to get actually the whole community involved and the parents together, so that they can help each other to actually acquire English, but they also can keep their heritage going, keep their culture and their celebrations going. So it's very important to welcome newcomers and always introduce them to other families. We're working not just on our Bluey and Coquelicot badges for today as Remembrance Day, but we're also making badges for the children with their home languages, so that they can also identify and speak to each other and have secret languages. I speak German, so that the children who speak German at home know that they have a Geheimsprache mit mir, and they can just have a little conversation with me in the corridor in German, and they have a big smile that we can share that with them. We do ask children to do language tastes to each other in other languages on occasions like Mother Tongue Day or European Day for Languages. We do love having multilingual singing assemblies, and there's a website that I'm going to show you that has lots of examples. We haven't been able to share a lot of food recently, and obviously there's lots of problems with nut allergies, etc. But it would be wonderful to do an international food festival, even perhaps to cook some food together. During our summer fair, we had lots and lots of different families and communities cooking for each other. It was absolutely wonderful. We do have a collection of international books, maps, leaflets, flag corners all around the school. We love using the maps of the world, like you saw the Peters. The one we had in big is not a Peters projection map, but if you do maps of the world, use the Peter projection, which is more realistic to what the Earth really looks like. And I mentioned our volunteer trainings already. This is the site for the children teaching resources and having lots of different languages singing. I don't know if you have come across our Youpi song. This was our first award-winning song for the 7 to 11 category for Saint-Jérôme, as organized by the Institut Français. When we came back from COVID, we created this, and it's been putting a big smile on our faces ever since. And last year, we won again the first prize for our Les Émotions song. So I would love you. Thank you, Hannah, for having seen the song. I don't know if you've seen the second one. And I now need you to interact with me, please, because it's felt like being in a hall of, I don't know, in my office on my own, speaking to this little green light and not knowing who is at the end there. I'm so pleased, Joe, that you do also a languages and Mother Tongue Day. I do fully agree with you that it's more inclusive than the Europe Day for Languages. And actually, because I was on a course, a DIPS course in Milan for that time, we haven't done European Day for Languages this year, but we are definitely doing a big thing for Mother Tongue Day, and I think it's more international. Thank you, Manjit, for your very kind word. If you have any questions, I'm happy to read them in the chat. I'll start the video, and as soon as I see questions, I will answer them. Hopefully you'll enjoy the second video and look out for the first one on YouTube.
Ce n'est pas important. Ton apparence, ce n'est pas important. Ce que tu penses, ce n'est pas important. Mais tes émotions, ça c'est très important. Il ne faut pas les garder dedans.
thank you so much for attending till the end. I'm just writing, yes, we have zones of regulations too, but the children wrote it before we implemented the zones of regulation. So I'm sorry that they're not linked, but I hope you can then adapt it definitely to the different zones of regulations you have. I hope you have enjoyed me sharing with you what we do at Saint-Jérôme. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with me, nadine.chadier@saintjeromebilingual.org. I put it in the chat. My email address, I think, yes, it's there. And just please reach out at any time. And the beauty of sharing culture and languages with children is just so rewarding. And I wish I could see you all for real and tell you what a wonderful job you're doing, because if you're here and listening to other people, it's because you're really interested. And it's through sharing our ideas that we will make the world a better place. Thank you so much. I will love you and leave you now, because I think I've gone a little bit over time, but don't hesitate to reach out in any way you want. And if you're not far from Harrow, please come and visit the school. We always welcome visitors and anyone who wants to volunteer with us. And also we regularly recruit teachers of French, but also teachers that have other languages. Merci beaucoup, à bientôt, and have a wonderful Remembrance Weekend. Au revoir. Merci. Au revoir.